We have all this partisanship going on. And as you know, I left the Republican Party and became an independent. People say, okay, partisanship, people are going to fight. Our system's supposed to have gridlock. Yeah, of course. Of course, we're supposed to have gridlock. It's supposed to be difficult to pass legislation. But the partisanship we see today is not really about our system working and producing natural gridlock within the system. It's people deciding that their party, their team, matters more than the system. That it doesn't matter what the system is. It doesn't matter that we're supposed to follow the Constitution. We're supposed to have federalism and separation of powers and uphold the Bill of Rights and follow the rule of law. There are people today who say that doesn't matter. All that matters is the team. All that matters is my party. And that is very dangerous for us. And that's why I'm talking more and more about that, because I think we are forgetting that as a society. We're fighting over whether capitalism is better or socialism is better, or whether this policy is better than that policy. And we're forgetting that those fights don't mean that much unless we follow our system. Unless we stick to the process put in place by our founders. And that's why, when people say, Justin, why are you so concerned about Donald Trump, for example, and what he's doing? Because the president violates these pillars in every instance. These pillars are violated time and again. A lack of concern for federalism, for separation of powers, for the Bill of Rights, for the rule of law. So people can say all they want, well, isn't he doing some good things, or he's sticking it to the left, or, he's standing up to the socialists. But if you undermine our system as President of the United States, all of that other stuff doesn't matter. Because the next person you have in power might be from the other side of the aisle. And that person will then abuse the system in the same way. And I already hear it now from a lot of the Democratic candidates. They say, President Trump abuses the system. And then I'll hear them talk about how, when they're in charge, they're going to issue executive orders too that don't follow the law, because they can't wait for Congress to act. They need to act now, just like President Trump does. And so it sets a dangerous precedent, a dangerous example for our country. And I think we as Americans need to be much more concerned about it. People sometimes ask me, Justin, what is the most important characteristic in a legislator? How do you know that someone is going to be a good legislator? Because I'm approached all the time with, will you endorse this person or that person? And this person's a good libertarian or a good conservative or whatever it might be. To me, the most important characteristic is honesty. We need honesty, we need integrity in our elected officials. Because again, if you care about people upholding this system, which is designed to protect our rights, I told you at the beginning, and we talked about this, the Declaration of Independence makes the point of what government's all about. It's about securing our rights. And if you want a system that secures our rights, you have to uphold those pillars of government. Federalism, separation of powers, the Bill of Rights, the rule of law. And if a person does not have honesty, does not have integrity, they will not uphold that system. They will follow a system of seeking outcomes. They will decide that the end justifies the means. And if we go into a world where all we care about is the outcomes, we will be no different than other countries across the world, across the globe. We'll be just the same. That's how it is in countless countries across the globe, where they put someone in power and all that matters is this person will beat up on our enemies. And then the other people say, well, when we get our people in power, we'll beat up on them. And there is no liberty in that system. Liberty cannot survive in that system. I'll tell you what does survive in that system. Socialism can survive in that system. Tyranny can survive in that system. Authoritarianism can survive in that system. And in fact, those things thrive in a system like that. A system built upon contempt and animosity. If you want socialism, if you want tyranny, then have a system like that. If you want liberty, you have to care about each other. You have to have integrity. You have to have virtue. You have to be honest. When you look back at the writings of the founders, they talk about this a lot. That you can't have a system like ours unless you have a virtuous society. Unless you have people who are honest and doing the right thing. And that's why I think it is so important that we have elected officials with integrity, with honesty. I think it is much more important than a lot of people talk about today.